Shalom, everybody. Welcome to Cover with Jeremy Pyers. So, we're gonna do part 8 today of Bereshith. There's only a couple more left after this that we're doing, and then I've decided we're gonna do the book of Daniel and then Revelation after that. 'Cause I realize not many realize what times we are living in and how the Bible prophesied these times and exactly what's going on. So, as a little break between chapters here, we're going to read Daniel and then Revelation. Maybe something else after that, I don't know yet. And shalom, Melissa. But yeah, we'll do the next 5 chapters here in Bereshith. So let's get right to it. Alright. So we're starting on 35 here at the bottom. Let's see, just make sure everything's running. Looks like it, yeah. Alright. And Elohim said to Jacob, "Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make an altar there to El, who appeared to you when you fled from the face of Esau, your brother." And Jacob said to his household, and to all who were with him, "Put away the foreign mighty ones that are among you, and cleanse yourself, and change your garments. And let us arise and go up to Bethel, and let me make there an altar to El, who answered me in the day of my distress, and has been with me in the way which I have gone." So they gave Jacob all the foreign mighty ones, which were in their hands, and all their earnings which were in their ears, and Jacob hid them under the terebinth tree, which was near Shechem. And they departed, and the fear of Elohim was upon the cities, that they were all around them, and they did not pursue the sons of Jacob. And Jacob came to Luz, that is, Bethel, which is in the land of Canaan. He and all the people were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place El Bethel, because there Elohim appeared to him when he fled from the face of his brother. And Deborah, Rikvah's nurse, died, and she was buried below Bethel, under the terebinth tree. So the name of it was called Alon Bakuth. And Elohim appeared to Jacob again, and he came from Padan Aram, and Baruch him. And Elohim said to him, "Your name is Jacob. Your name is no longer called Jacob, but Yisrael is your name." So he called his name Yisrael. And Elohim said to him, "I am El Shaddai. Bear fruit and increase a nation, and a company of nations shall be from you, and sovereigns come from your body. And the land which I gave Abraham and Yitzhak I give to you, and to your seed after you I will give this land." Excuse me. Remember, this is the land that Moses and them come back to and everything later on here. So, and Elohim went up from him in the place where he had spoken with him. And Jacob put up a standing column in the place where he had spoken with him, a monument of stone, and he poured a drink offering on it, and he poured oil on it. And Jacob called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him, Bethel. Then they departed from Bethel, and it came to be, when there was but a little distance to go to Ephrath, that Rachel began to give birth, and had great difficulty giving birth. And it came to be, she was having great difficulty giving birth, that the midwife said to her, Do not fear, for it is another son for you. And it came to be, excuse me. Hold on 1 second, sorry guys, apologies. Alright, sorry. And it came to be, as she was having great difficulty giving birth, that the midwife said to her, Do not fear, for it is another son for you. And it came to be, as her life was going out, for she died, and that she called his name Ben-Oni, but his father called him Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is, Beth Lehem. And Jacob put a standing column on her grave, which is the monument of Rachel's grave to this day. And Israel departed and pitched his tent beyond the tower of Eder. And it came to be, when Israel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine. And Israel heard about it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Shimon, and Levi, and Yehudah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Bilhah, Rachel's female servant, were Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's female servant, were Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan Aram. And Jacob came to his father Yitzhak at Mamre, or Kirath Araba, that is, Hebron, where Abraham Yitzhak had dwelt. Abraham and Yitzhak had dwelt. And the days of Yitzhak were 180 years. So Yitzhak breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, aged and satisfied of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. All right. So yeah, it just kind of shows all the different the 12 patriarchs, which we read already. They're on my channel. We read it through them if you haven't. So this just shows they came from 3 different wives here, or 3 different mothers. So they weren't all the same color. These were made all the different. Never mind. I won't get into it now. Basically, a lot of people try to claim skin color and bloodlines as your only key in. No, there was many. And he also said here, he will make his seed greater than the numbers of stars. So, I mean, who's the seed of Abraham? We are. That's kind of what I wanted to get at, my point there, basically. I'll continue here. Let me just double check everything. Yeah, seems to be working good. And this is the genealogy of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his wives from the daughters of Canaan, Adah, and the daughters of Elion, the Hittite, and Aholibamah, the daughter of Anah, and the daughter of Siban, the Hivite, and Basemath, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. And Adah bore Ephilaz to Esau, and Basemath bore Ruel, And Holibama bore Yeush, and Yelam, and Korah. These were the sons of Esau, who were born to him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his wives, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the beings of his household, and his herds, and all his beasts, and all his possessions, which he had gained in the land of Canaan, and went to a land away from the presence of his brother Jacob. For their possessions were too great for them to dwell together, and the land of their sojournings could not support them because of their herds. So Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And this is the genealogy of Esau, the father of the Edomites, in Mount Seir. These were the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, son of Adah, wife of Esau, and Ruel, son of Basemath, wife of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Teman, Omar, Sepho, and Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was the concubine of Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore Amalek to Eliphaz. These were the sons of Adah, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Ruel, Nahath, and Zerah, Shammah, and Mizah. These were the sons of Bashemath, Esau's wife. These were the sons of Aholibamah, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah, the daughter of Sibon, and she bore to Esau Yeush, and Yelam, and Korah. These were all the chiefs of the sons of Esau, and the sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau, were Chief Teman, Chief Omar, Chief Sepho, Chief Kenaz, Chief Korah, Chief Gadam, Chief Amalek. These were these were the chiefs of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. They were the sons of Adah. And these were the sons of Ruel, Esau's son: Chief Nahath, Chief Zerah, Chief Shammah, and Chief Mizah. These were the chiefs of Ruel in the land of Edom, and these were the sons of Basemath, Esau's wife. And these were the sons of Oholibamah, Esau's wife: Chief Yeush, Chief Yelam, and Chief Korah. These were the chiefs from Oholibamah's, Esau's wife, the daughter of Anah. These were the sons of Esau, who is Edom. These were their chiefs. These were the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land: Lotan, and Shobal, and Sibon, and Anah, and Dishon, and Esther, and Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, the sons of Seir, in the land of Edom. And the sons of Lotan were Hori and Hemam. Lotan's sister was Timnah. And these were the sons of Shobal: Alwan, and Manahath, Ebal, Shepo, and Onem. These were the sons of Sibon, both Aya and Anna. This was the Anna who found the water in the wilderness, as he fed the donkeys of his father Sibon. And these were the children of Anah: Dishon, and Oholibamah, and the daughter of Anah. And these were the sons of Dishon: Hemdan, and Eshban, and Yithran, and Kiran. These were the sons of Esther: Bilhan, and Zawa'an, and Akan. These were the sons of Dishan, Uts, and Aran. These were the chiefs of the Horites. Chief Lotan, Chief Shobal, Chief Siban, Chief Anah, Chief Dishan, Chief Etzer, and Chief Dishan. These were the chiefs of the Horites, according to their chiefs in the land of Seir. And these were the sovereigns who reigned in the land of Edom, before any sovereign reigned over the children of Israel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhabah. And Bela died, and Yobab, son of Zerah, of Botzrah, reigned in his place. And Yobab died, and Husham of the land of the Temanites reigned in his place. And Husham died, and Hadad, son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his place, and the name of his city was Awith. And Hadad died, and Samiah of Masriah reigned in his place. And Samlah died, and Shaul of Rehoboth Ha-Nahar reigned in his place. And Shaul died, and Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, reigned in his place. And Baal-Hanan, son of Akbor, died, and Hedar reigned in his place. And the name of his city was Peau, and his wife's name was Mehebetab. Oh, these names. Mehetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Mezahab. These were the names of the chiefs of Esau, according to their clans and their places, by their names: Chief Timnah, Chief Alwa, Chief Yetheth, Chief Oholibamah, Chief Elah, Chief Pinon, Chief Kenaz, Chief Timan, Chief Mibzar, Chief Magdiel, Chief Eram. These were the chiefs of Edom, according to their dwelling place, in the land of their possession. Esau was the father of the Edomites. I know it seems kind of crazy, but this lineage it's really important actually, because it keeps track of all the lineage that's happened. And it shows, if you don't know where all this is, you can search it out online. And they got lots of maps and everything there. You can look at ancient maps. You can study. What I recommend, honestly, is study each section out, like after the video or whenever you like, whenever you have free time. Just go over what we've read and search it out online, and you can find a lot of this it's in history, like so-called what the scholars write down and all that, but it lines up right with the Bible. Anyway, I'll continue here. I ramble sometimes. It happens. My apologies. Well, not really, because I'm just giving you insight on it and going kind of in depth. Just search it out. And Jacob dwelt in the land of his fathers' sojournings, in the land of Canaan. This is the genealogy of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers. And the young man was with sons of Bilhah, and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought an evil report on them to his father. And Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a long robe. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him, and were not able to speak peaceably to him. If you remember reading through the 12 patriarchs, a lot of them were talking about this very incident that we're going to read about. Remember I said we'd talk about it? Here we are. And Yosef dreamed a dream and told it to his brothers, so they hated him even more. And he said to them, "Please listen to this dream which I have dreamed. See, we were binding sheaves in the midst of the field. And see, my sheaf rose up, and also stood up. And see, your sheaves stood all around, and bowed down to my sheaf." And his brothers said to him, "Shall you indeed reign over us? Shall you indeed rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And he dreamed still another dream, and related it to his brothers, and said, "See, I have dreamed another dream. And see, the sun and the moon and 11 stars bow down to me." And he raised it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him, and said to him, "What is this dream you have dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I, and your brothers, indeed come to bow down to the earth before you?" Excuse me 1 sec. Just need a sip of water. And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. And when his brothers went to feed their flocks in Shechem, and Yisrael said to Yosef, "Are you not excuse me, are not your brothers feeding in Shechem? Come, I send you to them." So he said to him, "Here I am." And he said to him, "Please go and see if it is well with your brothers, and well with the sheep, and bring back word to me." So he sent him out of the valley of Hebron, and he went to Shechem. And a certain man found him, and see, he was wandering in the field. And the man asked him, saying, "What do you seek?" He said, "I am seeking my brothers. Please inform me where they are feeding their sheep." And the man said, "They have left here, for I heard them say, 'Let us go towards Dothan.'" So Yosef went after his brothers, and found them in Dothan. And they saw him from a distance, and before he came near them, they plotted against him to kill him. Yep, remember this is all this we read in the 12 patriarchs. If you haven't seen those videos, I highly recommend them. They follow, scriptures, the so-called canon to a T, and they predict Messiah. I'll continue. And they said to each other, "See, this master of dreams is coming. Now then, come and let us now kill him, and throw him into some pit. And they shall say, some wild beast had devoured him. Let us then see what comes out of his dreams." And Reuben heard, and rescued him from their hands, and said, "Let us not take his life." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit, which is in the wilderness, and do not lay a hand on him, in order to rescue him out of their hands, and bring him back to his father." So it came to be, when Joseph had come to his brothers, that they had stripped Joseph of his robe, and the long robe which was on him. And they took him and threw him into a pit, and the pit was empty, there was no water in it. And they sat down to eat a meal, and they lifted their eyes and looked, and saw a company of Ishmaelites coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing spices and balm and myrrh, going to take them down to Mitzrayim. And Yehudah said to his brothers, What would we gain if we kill our brother and conceal his blood? Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hands be upon him. For he is our brother, our flesh. And his brothers listened. And men, Midianite traders, passed by. So they pulled Joseph up, and lifted him out of the pit, and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 pieces of silver. And they took Joseph to Mitzrayim. And Reuben returned to the pit, and see, Joseph was not in the pit, and he tore his garments. And he returned to his brothers, and said, The boy is gone, and I, where am I to go? So they took Joseph's robe, and killed a male goat, and dipped the robe in the blood, and sent the long robe, and brought it to their father, and said, We have found this. Please look, is it the robe of your son, or not? And he recognized it, and said, It is my son's robe. An evil beast has devoured him. Joseph is torn to pieces. And Jacob tore his garments, and put sackcloth on his waist, and mourned for his son many days. And all his sons and all his daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. And he said, Now let me go down into the grave. My son in mourning. So his father wept for him. And the Midianites had sold him in Mitzrayim to Potiphar, an officer of the Pharaoh, and captain of the guard. So yeah, it's pretty amazing, kind of crazy. They would sell their own brother and then lie about it, causing their father to grieve. Yeah, crazy. Shalom, Kingdom Truther. Yes, I love 12 Patriarchs. It's awesome. It's amazing. Alright. So, we've got two more chapters here. And then we'll get to the end for today. And at that time it came to be that Yehudah left his brothers, and turned aside to a man, an Adullamite, whose name was Hira. And Yehudah saw there a daughter of certain Canaanite, whose name was Shua, and he took her, and went in to her. So she conceived and bore a son, and he called his name And she conceived again, and bore a son, and called his name Onan. And she conceived yet again, and bore a son, and called his name Shelah. And he was at Kezib when she bore him. And Yehudah took a wife for his firstborn, and her name was Tamar. But Yehudah's firstborn, was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and Yahweh took his life. And Yehudah said to Onan, Go into your brother's wife, and marry her, and raise up an heir to your brother. And Onan knew that the offspring would not be his. And it came to be, when he went into his brother's wife, that he spilled on the ground, lest he should give an offspring to his brother. But what he did displeased Yahuwah, so he took his life too. Yeah, that's why it's bad to spill your seed on the ground. Then Yahudah said to Tamar, his daughter-in-law, "Remain a widow in your father's house until my son Shelah is grown." For he said, lest he also die as his brothers did. And Tamar went and dwelt in her father's house. And after a long time, the daughter of Shua, Yahudah's wife, died. And Yahudah was comforted, and went up to his sheep shearers at Timnah, he and his friend Hira, the Adulamite. And it was reported to Tamar, saying, "See, your father-in-law is going up to Timnah to shear his sheep." And she took off her widow's garments, and covered herself with a veil, and wrapped herself, and sat at the entrance to Enaim, which was on the way to Timnah. For she saw that Shelah was grown, and she was not given to him as a wife. And Yahudah saw her, and reckoned her for a whore. She had covered her face, for she had covered her face. And he turned aside to her by the way, and said, "Please, let me come in to you." For he did not know that she was his daughter-in-law. And she said, "What do you give me to come in to me?" And he said, "Let me send you a young goat from the flock." And she said, "Do you give me a pledge until you send it?" So he said, "What pledge should I give you?" And she said, "Your seal, and your cord, and your staff that is in your hand." And he gave them to her, and he went in to her, and she conceived by him. And she arose, and went away, and removed her veil, and put on the garments of her widowhood. And Yahudah sent the young goat by the hand of his friend, the Adulamite, to receive his pledge from the woman's hand. But he did not find her. And he asked the men of that place, saying, "Where is the cult prostitute who is beside the way to Enaim?" And they said, "There was no cult prostitute in this place." And he returned to Yahudah, and said, "I have not found her." And the men of the place also said there is no cult prostitute in this place. And Yahudah said, Let her take them for herself, lest we become despised. For I sent this young goat, and you have not found her." And it came to be, about 3 months after, that Yahudah was informed, saying, "Tamar, your daughter-in-law, has whored, and see, she has conceived by whoring." And Yahudah said, "Bring her out, and let her be burned." When she was brought out, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, "By the man to whom these belong, I am pregnant." And she said, "Please examine whose these are, and the seal, and the cord, and the staff." And Yahudah examined and said, "She has been more righteous than I, because I did not give her to Shelah, my son." And he never knew her again. And it came to be, at the time for giving birth, that see, twins were in her womb. And it came to be, when she was giving birth, that the one put out his hand, and the midwife took a scarlet thread, and bound it on his hand, saying, "This one came out first." And it came to be, as he drew back his hand, that see, his brother came out. And she said, "How did you break through? This breach be upon you." So his name was called Peretz. And afterward his brother came out, who had the scarlet thread on his hand. So his name was called Zerah. And Joseph Yosef had been taken down to Mitzrayim, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, a Mitzrayite, brought him from bought him from the Yishmaelites, who had taken him down there. And it came to be that Yahweh was with Yosef, and he came to be a prosperous man, and he was in the house of his master, the Mitzrayite. And his master saw that Yahweh was with him, and that Yahweh made all he did to prosper in his hand. So Yosef found favor in his eyes and served him, and he appointed him over his house, and gave into his hand all that he had. And it came to be, from the time that he appointed him over his house, and all that he had, that Yahweh baruch the Mitzrayite's house for Yosef's sake. And the barakah of Yahweh was on all that he had in the house and in the field. And he left Yosef's hand all that he had, and he did not know what he had except for the bread which he ate. And Yosef was handsome in form and handsome in appearance. And after these events it came to be that his master's wife lifted up her eyes to Yosef and said, "Lie with me." But he refused, and said to his master's wife, "Look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has given into my hand all that he has. No one greater in this house than I, and he has not withheld whatsoever from me but you, because you are his wife. And how shall I do this great evil and sin against Elohim?" And it came to be, as she spoke to Yosef day by day, that he did not listen to her, to lie with her, to be with her. And it came to be on a certain day, when Yosef went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside, that she caught him by his garment, saying, "Lie with me." But he left his garment in her hand, and fled and ran outside. And it came to be, when she saw that he had his garment in her hand, and fled outside, that she called to the men of her house, and spoke to them, saying, "See, he has brought in to us Ibri, to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. And it came to be, when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me, and fled and went outside." And so much deceit, it's crazy. Kind of like today. And she kept his garment with her until his master came home. And she spoke to him these same words, saying, "The Ibri servant who you brought to us came in to me to mock me." And Ibri means Hebrew or Israelite. They're truly called Ivri. So it came to be, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. And it came to be, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, "Your servant did to me according to these words," that his displeasure burned. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the sovereign's prisoners were confined. And he was there in prison. But Yahweh was with Yosef, and extended kindness to him, and he gave him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. And the prison warden gave into the hand of Yosef all the prisoners who were in the prison, and whatsoever was done there was his doing. The prison warden did not look into any point that was under Joseph's hand, because Yahweh was with him. Whatsoever he did, Yahweh made it prosper. And that is the glory of Yahweh, Mishpaha, 100%. So, Thank you, Alyssa. I know. You know, some of these names are pretty difficult, and it's kind of strange. You know, each version of the Bible, they're slightly different. You know, especially like the King James ones, they're definitely different, but yeah, they're tricky at times, especially when you're trying to read a bunch of different versions. And then this one it says it this way, and then this one it says it that way. I just pray and get through it. Doesn't look like too many questions. Yeah, that'll be our reading for today. Don't forget, next week, same time, same channel, different reading. But as soon as we're done reading Bereshith here, we're, like as I said earlier in the broadcast, going to be doing the book of Daniel, and then after that, the book of Revelation. Just, I think it's important to show the times we're living in. Many have no clue the times we're living in. Yeah, Lisa, it does show how far they've taken us from our roots. Absolutely. And, that's the work of Satan, Hasatan. His job is to confuse and conceal and accuse. That's what he does. I've seen a lot of accusations lately as well. It's instead of well, it's mostly people taking things out of context, just like scripture. They take your post out of context, they'll take your comments out of context, or take your words out of context in person. Instead of, asking, hey, I don't understand, what did you mean? They'll throw in attacks or put words in your mouth that you didn't even say. And it's just baffling. I'm against that. As I've said before, I'm against separation, period. I am for coming together in His name. We believe in Yahuwah. We believe in Yahusha HaMashiach and His Ruach. We believe in that. We're brothers and sisters. We're family. Mishpaha. That's what matters. Don't let these small differences separate us, especially in these end times. There will be a great falling away. Don't be a part of it. Don't follow men. Just follow His word. Yeah, it is very sad. It is. Anyway, yeah, join us next week. I'll have to double check here. I should have earlier. We may have one, maybe two of these in Bereshith left. And then we'll be doing Daniel and then Revelation. I also want to do Baruch as well. Those are excellent books. Might throw those in after those. We'll see how it goes. But as I said, we're going to go cover to cover from Genesis to Revelation. So don't worry. Looks like not too many questions. It's fine. Hopefully everything was kind of understood, the bloodlines, the lineage, I should say. It has to be in there, and it's very important because we can trace these lineages all the way back if you're into that thing. I've tried it. I found out, I'm pretty sure I'm from the tribe of Dan. That's where my lineage is from. I'm not 100%, but this is where I'm pretty sure I'm from the tribe of Dan. So anyway, it's Lineage is kind of like, it's not my forte. We all have our calling on this path. Lineage is not my calling. There are many who have this calling and have many great studies about it. Same with the Maseroth, all that. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the reading. Join me next week. And then I was thinking of doing another video here in between for this coming week, but I might start my new job actually tomorrow. I might start my new job. Kind of exciting, actually. It's been kind of grueling losing my job. Been applying for different ones, being a single father, having 2 kids, even though only one of my kids live with me full time. I support my other one as well, so he's with me every weekend. It's tough. It's tough. But anyway, Yahweh has blessed me with perhaps this other job, so I'm very thankful for that. But alright, thank you guys. Thank you for joining me. Join us next week. And have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful evening. And we'll see you soon. If you like, you can follow me on Facebook. Either on my private, personal Facebook or my Cover to Cover with Jeremy Pyers page on Facebook as well. So either or works for me. I'll be there. But alright, I thank you guys. Have a wonderful evening. Shalom.